2024 is a grand rising. And this month, our focus is gentle.
Please join us as we.
No.
Whoops. Hang on. We'll see preview of what's to come. Our message for today is gentle cosmic-ness. And that is not easy to say, but I cannot wait to hear what Charlene brings us in the message. Like I just said, Charlene is our spiritual director and she will be giving our message today. We are so glad that you took some time out of your day to join us. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our welcoming video.
Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be of service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless the sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is.
So before I begin the meditation, I want to remind everyone that if you have any prayer concerns or celebrations that you would like us to include later when we do our affirmative prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment, please feel free to put that in the chat and we will make sure that we include that later in our service. All right, now it's time for our meditation. So our topic today is gentle cosmic-ness. And I always try to tie the meditation into what the topic is for today. And I think I have it. So let's begin. Just settle into your chair as we pull up our music for our meditation. Take a
Please
deep
join us
breath.
as we.
There we go. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And release. And again. Hold. And release. And as you release, just let that tension just flow out of your body. Anything that you were carrying with you this week, just let's do that one more time. Breathe in health and happiness and peace. Hold. And release. Breathe out any tension, anxiety, worry, strain. Just let meditation is a gift we give ourselves. In this busy, busy world that we live in, You can always push the pause button no matter what we're doing. Even if you're driving, as long as you keep your eyes open and stay focused on the traffic, but you can do meditation at any time. So today we're going to focus on the magical, incredible, magnificent world around us. And I love these images that are playing while we do our meditation. And I'm going to ask you to visualize your favorite place in nature. Maybe it's a beautiful lake that's surrounded by mountains. Maybe it's a wooded walk that you like to go on when you go hiking and you see trees. And I don't know about you, but I am so loving seeing the tulips and the dogwood and the spring flowers. It's so wonderful as the world seems to just get reborn. And there's our fall image too. It could be the beautiful leaves that we see in the fall. It can be anything that just makes you appreciate the beautiful, beautiful world around us. And as you do this, I want to remind you that you are a piece of this, just like that leaf is, and just like that pebble. You are a piece of this beautiful, beautiful cosmic world that we live in. Now, I'm going to ask you to visualize something different. And don't get too distracted by the pictures. I want you to visualize the night sky. Picture the moon. Picture the stars, the constellations, the planets. I love to go outside on a beautiful night and just gaze up at the seemingly endless, it is, right? Nights. So I'm going to throw a few facts at you while you visualize all the stars in that beautiful night sky. So, a typical galaxy has 100 billion stars. And scientists estimate that there are 2 trillion galaxies in the universe. And that adds up, I'm glad I don't have to do the math, to 200 billion trillion stars. And each and every star is special, is unique. It's made up of hydrogen and helium and a few other of those elements. And here's the most amazing part. We're made up of the same stuff. We're made up of hydrogen and oxygen and carbon and nitrogen and all the stuff that the stars are made of. So we're made up of star stuff. We're stars. So as you picture that night sky in your imagination, or the next time that you go outside on a beautiful spring or summer evening and look up at the night sky, remember that you too are made up of the same elements. As you picture the beautiful, beautiful scenes that we see every day in nature, remember that you too are beautiful and magnificent. Everything and everyone is made up of the same building blocks, the same stuff, the same parts, the same star stuff. We are many, and at the same time, we are one. We are connected to each other. We are all part of the one. Never alone. All connected. Now, I don't know about you, but that gives me so much peace to know. It's all good. It's all wonderful. Cosmic. All right, take a deep breath again and just enjoy this moment. It always feels so good to go into meditation with you. And now, here comes something that's going to feel good too. We have some music by Lee.
Low below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, and still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, and never harbor nor port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The sun is my sail, as the moon is my rudder, as I ply these starry seas, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, sailing here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls are just making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. A beautiful blue boat home. Beautiful blue boat. Beautiful blue boat home. Beautiful blue boat home. Beautiful blue boat home. Our beautiful blue boat home.
Yes, please. I will subscribe. Wow. Beautiful blue boat home. It's Earth Month, right, Erin? That's correct, right? And I'm wearing blue, and she was wearing blue. So I know I'm a fangirl. What can I say? I love our community. I love Leah's music, and just the voice was just so perfect. And I get to follow that with lots of news. I know. I thought about you guys as I was preparing for this talk. And I said, gee, Shar, you know what? This whole month we've been talking about compassion and looking upon the world with our giant gentleness. And then I thought, except for when it comes to politics, global warming, protesting, and the hot mess. And I said, hold on, wait. This is also the divine. It's what we teach, but it's not always what we remember when we look upon the world with the old habitual way of seeing things. But we come here every week to wake up from that habitual way, from the mass hypnotism that could be what you could call it, when we've trained each other to take sides and to fight, when we're really all just after the kind of the same thing. We have different ways of showing it for sure, but there's a higher thing going on. And it's when we know that we're full of love and the world is alive as love itself. That is our affirmation for the week. The world is alive as love itself. Well, when we know that, then we can possibly look at the world with our giant, gentle eyes. We could look at it with our eyes a little softened and a little less judgy. In fact, if gentleness is anything, then it's definitely loving and it's very supportive. So if we look at the world around us and we notice that we're not bringing that love and not bringing that support, then what can we do in the moment that we're looking? What can we do to change our gaze, to change the way we see the world so that it's not such a scary place? And so what we do is we celebrate every place where there is a win. Every place we can look upon the world and see something about it and say, ah, there's a win. And so if we look at the news, how can we bring our awareness of the win to the news? All right, so let me show you. I have a couple of pictures I want to share. I'll go into share mode and I'm going to try something which might be a little weird, but Zoom offers me the ability to show up right next to the thing I'm showing like that. Okay, let me share screen one. All right. I don't know what that's going to look like on Vimeo. Yeah, I wonder if it looks okay because Vimeo is still going to stick me in the corner. Anyway, yeah, it's weird. Okay, fine, but it's okay, yeah? Listen, wind farms. Actually, that's not the first one I want to show you. Okay, close your eyes as I go to the first slide. Wait, I have to go back to the first slide. Excuse me. Okay, now I'm ready to share again. You know, it's fun. It doesn't have to be perfect, does it? Okay, here we go. About to share screen one again. That's the first one I want to start with. This is a protest. That protest is being had on campus. Now, raise your hand internally or externally if you've heard about this on the news. Yeah? And now let me know if part of you is like, oh, where is this going? And why are we doing this? And what does it mean? And how do I look upon this with eyes of gentleness when clearly I could see the wrong and I could see the right? You see, the pro-Palestinian protests that are happening at all the major U.S. universities have hundreds of people being arrested right now. In fact, at Columbia University, we had dozens of protesters, and they won't disperse until, get this, the school agrees to cut all the ties with Israeli academic institutions and commits to a complete divestment. Now, I'm old enough to remember when we did this with South Africa, and remember, we abandoned and boycotted companies that we found out that they were doing a thing. Why is my hand up? I think my hand is up because it recognized my gesture. How do I take it down? Like this? I don't know. It's up. I don't get it. But the point is, they want a complete divestment of its funds from all the entities connected to Israel. And they have other demands too. Now, the Israeli Prime Minister, Mr. Netanyahu, denounced it. He says, well, you know, that is anti-Semitic. Is it? So this is where we get to take a pause for a second and ask ourselves, when we're silent, are we becoming a coward? Like Mahatma Gandhi said, silence becomes cowardice when occasion demands speaking out the whole truth and acting according to the whole truth. Now, of course, you may have opposition that will immediately label something that you're doing when you're speaking out. Does that mean that we shouldn't speak out? Why, no, it doesn't mean that at all. In fact, William Faulkner said, never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty, truth, and compassion against injustice, lying, and greed. If people all over the world do this, it would change the world. That's some powerful words right there. And in fact, Desmond Tutu might add, if you're neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. So now what? Yeah, we're really good at war. We're very good at war as a country, as humanity, as the world. We're good at war. We use war in terms, we use the terms of war in typical everyday terminology or phraseology. Oh, I'm in a war, the war against, and put whatever you want in there. Or gender wars when people online start yelling about male versus female. There's sports are phrased as combative. So and so, this team bested or nailed or hammered, or there's always something that's going to blow up or some bomb that's going to drop. We use words just flippantly. What if we took our words and made our words nonviolent just for a day? If we thought before we spoke and chose nonviolent terms instead of violent terms, it's just a question. So that's the first news story. Now, did you hear? The blades fell off of the Moulin Rouge. They did. They fell right off. Look, in fact, now it says La Rouge because well, it's on the ground along with the blades. So what is the Moulin Rouge? It's a famous dance hall. And the facade of the building got damaged when it happened. The first three letters fell off with the facade, but they were replaced quickly. And the spokesman said, well, the blades are going to be put back very soon. Now, when everybody saw everything else going on in the world, this iconic establishment also lost its first three letters. What is happening? Well, there won't be any cancellations. The show must go on, of course. Now, this place, it's located in the Montmartre. I got to practice, Renee B, with my French accent. Must be perfected. We're heading over to Paris very soon. But the Montmartre district of Paris was established in 1889, you guys. It's one of the world's most famous cabaret. When you ever hear, come to the cabaret, my friends, Aaron, of course, I'm sure you can sing that much better than I can. Woo, you know what comes to mind, feathers and plumage and lots of showmanship. That is what it's famous for. But the blades fell off because they were renovating it. Listen, it is still as grand as it has ever been, and the show must go on. And if anything, people became more aware of the precious icon that is that space. So do we get older? Yes. Do things kind of fall apart? A little bit. But we will be able to just know that we are just as precious and more identifiably precious when stuff might happen to us. In fact, Pema Chodron said, we all need to be reminded and encouraged to relax with whatever arises and bring whatever we encounter to the path that we're on. Bring what we encountered onto our path. I love this because it doesn't mean go around it, ignore it, try to scoot past it. Bring it in, invite it in as we're on our journey. Because, and if you think about this, Pema also says, sorry, we got dog. Can you hear the dog? A little bit. Oh, okay. So it's just me that gets to hear all the things. Perfect. Listen, Pema also says to stay with shakiness, the feeling of hopelessness. That is the path of the true awakening. Invite it in. Invite it in. Sticking with the uncertainty, getting the knack of relaxing in the midst of chaos. Learning not to panic. Oh, I'm going to use that on my trip coming up. Learning not to panic. Getting in the knack of relaxing. That's the spiritual path. Just not freaking out. Turns out you're being very spiritual by not freaking out. Isn't that amazing? So the next thing I want to talk to you about is something cosmic, because there is the word cosmic in the title of this talk. Guess who started answering our texts? Voyager 2. Well, it stopped ghosting us, you guys. You see, back 46 years ago, Voyager 2 left the Earth in order to travel in interstellar space, beyond the star, interstellar space, to kind of check things out and see what's going on. But it stopped communicating with us. You see, it entered interstellar space in 2018. That was 40 years after it was launched. And it already had proved its status as a pioneer, but it had stopped sending us messages. And it went to a place called the Great Dark Spot out in the netherworlds. It's carrying some precious cargo in it, and it just wasn't responding. But we finally were able to wake it up. Because it's us, we sent a signal, and 37 hours later, that signal pinged back and it said, "Yep, I'm up." My goodness. So what's on the Voyager itself? It's like a little time capsule, just in case it's intercepted by aliens or just other people who we call aliens, just people that didn't show up on Earth yet. Listen, if somebody intercepts it, you know what they're going to find? They're going to find a golden record. On the golden record, because gold is the hardest substance, even though it's quite malleable, it is a very tough substance. It has on it a variety of natural sounds, 55 languages that are saying, "Hello, welcome, bienvenue," blah, blah, blah. That. It also has a 90-minute selection of music, different types of music from different genres. So when they intercept, they'll be like, "Oh, okay, that sounds good." I love this. I love this. Okay. In other news, I love reading in the news. We'll do this from now on. We'll just read the news. What's going on here? So, did you know that in Europe, there are thousands of unused and unwanted dams? Dams, you know what dams do? They bar the movement and the flow of water. But the movement and the flow of water is actually the movement and the flow of biodiversity and nutrients that will help make the area much more, I don't know, beautiful for one, but just more hardy, able to withstand different things going on. If you have biodiversity, you're more likely to survive. You're more likely to thrive. There's more likely to be lushness all around. The dams were all over Europe, and now they're being removed. So let me read you some statistics. There are thousands of unused dams, and that means they're affecting the biodiversity of freshwater environments. So that poses a risk to the climate and to the environment. It's not going to be able to be as resilient. So in Europe, they're removing these dams. The EU Biodiversity Strategy aims to remove 25,000 kilometers of rivers by 2030, including unnecessary dams. By 2023, 500 dams and other structures were removed from 15 countries, and that will improve the river health for the people around and the nature around it. Thriving will start to happen instead of choking out. So look at what we're doing. I know this doesn't get front page news, but what we're looking at is biodiversity, which is something that science of mind, religious science, spiritual living definitely gets behind. If you look at how American Museum of Natural History puts it, the term biodiversity refers to the variety of life on Earth at all of the levels, from genes to ecosystems, and it can encompass the evolutionary, ecological, and cultural processes that sustain life. Biodiversity is important to most aspects of our lives. We value what it provides for humans. You know what happens when you take the same family and you just make other family members from those same family members? It's called inbreeding. It's never good. I mean, at first it might be okay, but show me 3-4 generations later, there's extra and not enough, and it's terrible. All right, just leave it there because I know you have an imagination as well. Now, the values that it has in its own right, including basic human needs such as food, fuel, shelter, and medicine. Also, these ecosystems provide pollination, seed dispersal, climate regulation, water purification, and medicine from plants, which is how medicine works anyway, and food, will also be available. Listen, we've just burst open more possibilities by allowing the natural flow of nutrients. I love that. I love it. All right. The final thing, and I'll wrap up the news hour, although this is quite fun for me. The windmill farm that I showed you earlier. So a lot of times I know that we're talking about big companies too invested in old fossil fuels that are non-renewable, and we don't talk enough about where are we going with renewable energy. Well, I'm glad you asked, because the world installed 117 gigawatts of new wind power capacity in 2023. This is a 50% increase from the year before. 50% increase from the year before. But no one's talking about that. Well, we're talking about it. In fact, this 2023 was the best year on record for new wind projects. And so the increase in wind installations, in quotes, shows that the world is moving in the right direction in combating climate change, this report from the Global Wind Energy Council said. Now, they warned, though, that the wind industry has to continue its increase of annual growth to at least 320 gigawatts by 2030. So that's 5 years. They have, now remember, we did 117 gigawatts in 2023, but we're trying to more than double that to get to 320 by 2030 in order to meet the Paris Agreement's ambition. So we're just hoping that we're not hoping and planning and moving forward in order to meet certain targets, because we've got to be on track to cool this. I mean, I feel like we're still going to be outpacing ourselves in terms of making it hotter, but maybe this, if we can hit these numbers, can start to make some sort of difference. Wind is becoming better understood and appreciated across the globe for the value that it brings as one of the many renewable power sources. There's a lot of hopeful things coming. I did listen to a podcast that talks about science, and they're trying to use artificial intelligence to help stabilize 0-point module energy, cold fusion. Cold fusion's hard because it's unstable, and by the time you eke the power out of it, you lost it because you can't maintain it without blowing it up. But AI can look at the numbers and predict in enough time what needs to be modified to keep it within the working range. And so it goes. We're going to be exploding and moving towards 0 point. We're going to be the iPhone will never run out of power. It's just on. Right. All right. So here are a few quotes from leaders of New Thought. Saint Hildegard of Bingen. The blowing wind, the mild, moist air, the exquisite greening of trees and grasses. In their beginning, in their ending, they give God their praise. I love that. And also, let's capture that and store it in a battery. I'm just saying. Apache Blessing says, may the wind blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life. All right. Well, that's fun. You guys, do we have to get caught up in the way the world sees itself? No. In fact, the reports of the death of humanity have been greatly exaggerated. And I might add, in order to sell some things. And every time our emotions are being pulled into something and then we're being sold something to alleviate the pain, I kind of got to start thinking, did you create the pain so you could sell me the pill? Is there such a thing as restless leg syndrome? I have questions. So we have to just be present and be centered, knowing that we have the ability to change what it is we're looking at just by our presence. Just by our presence, we can modify the whole situation. Somebody's doing a lot of shaky. You can't hear it. I'm just grateful. So like, if you can't hear it, that's great. But what I want us to know by looking at each of these news stories is that each of these approaches, each news story that I showed you could be used to get us to worry about our future. Now, worry doesn't do us any good. When we're sitting in worry, we break the possibility of the magic of the current moment without any return on our investment. It's as if we're paying interest on money that we haven't borrowed yet. Think about it. When we worry about something that we see in front of us, that is just causing angst. And then the next moment comes from angst. What gets born from angst? A lot of bad decisions. A lot of bad decisions get born from our sense of fear and uncomfortability and instability in this world. When those same pictures, those same images could be seen as, okay, look, we're getting somewhere. We're going somewhere. It's good that people are protesting. To stay silent is to acquiesce. It's good that the signs kind of fall off of a structure that's iconic. It reminds us to care for it and include that as our path. It's good that we're removing dams because we could do what we can do to block energy that maybe we're damming up. Maybe we have some energy in our lives that make us look at other people and judge what they do and then decide, oh, I could never, couldn't be me, just locking them out of our compassion. And largely, they had no idea that you're even considering them. They have no idea that in your eyes, they're bad. And it's all just such a made up thing. So if we could release a lot of the ongoing commentary, judgmental, separating ideas of life and other people, if we simply sit and become one with what is, then we can rise off the cushion and invite others to join that path, even if you never say hi to them. Just our thought as we look at them, changing it from, I don't know why you did that, to, I wonder why you did that. Ask questions. And I'll end this with a story. I love the story because when I say ask questions, it's important. In this story, it's a story of Francis of Assisi in a book by Linda Lynn Haupt, Haupt. She has a book called Rooted. And in this book, she tells the story of St. Francis. He was called upon by a mayor. The mayor begged him to intervene with a ferocious wolf that was causing great havoc. The wolf had slaughtered livestock, attacked shepherds, and even killed the guards that were sent to slay her. Unlike most who tell this tale, Lyanda says, the author of the book, she says that Francis didn't tame the wolf. That's a myth. He did not tame the wolf. Instead, he listened to it. He stood in the wolf's presence, respected the animal's wildness, apprehended her story. He called her sister. When Francis returned to the village, he shared that the wolf had been injured and her pack had left her. She was just hungry, and when the people attacked, she acted out of self-defense. With this new information, the townsfolk helped the injured wolf find food, and they coexisted without fear. Listening. So what could be going on in your neighbor's life? The one who's annoying, who keeps doing that thing, your boss, your coworker, your in-law, your brother, sister, father, who is in your life that's behaving not ideal, in a non-ideal fashion? And have you listened? I'll leave that with you as we go within for prayer. There's one power, one life, one energy. This source is the source of all things living and appearing inanimate. Every single thing in this universe is imbued with the divine life itself. There is no otherness, there's no separation, which means we are all part of each other. And so with this awareness that there can be no separation, I speak my word into this oneness, knowing that the divine is all love. It's all loving. That back of all poor behavior is something, some misguided quest. For each of us deep down inside, we harbor that divine spark. We want love. We are love. We just want to be seen. And yes, we behave poorly at times. And so I speak my word that each and every one of us here in this coming week, we look upon our neighbor with compassion. And instead of with judgment, with curiosity, willing to bring along that experience on our path, willing to give it a chance in our hearts. I also speak my word for anyone who is undergoing any appearance of dis-ease or unwellness. I especially speak my word that they are being surrounded by those whose mission is to bring them back to health and wholeness, whatever way that may look. I speak my word for anyone in the path of violent tornadoes in Oklahoma, in Nebraska, that even in the midst of all this seeming destruction, there are helpers on hand that are looking at that and asking, what is mine to do? How can I help? That there are newly found connections of love and trust and support where there seemed could be none. And Aunt Gloria, for her recovery, that she continues to do well in her ailments or whatever is showing up in her dis-ease or uncomfortability, that those around her are just nursing her back to health with big hearts and warm embraces of love and care. And so just knowing that all is well for those who I spoke out loud and those who I've not mentioned, for those whose prayers are in their hearts and have not yet been uttered, I speak my word that even now, even in the question, there is the answer. Even in the request, there is the response. And I know that all is well. It is all good. I release my word into the law, knowing it is already unfolding. And so it is. Amen. Ashe.
Here come that voice trying to turn me around. Here come.
1 second while I share my screen. We got a good song coming for you. And then I'll take it back to the beginning. Oh, did it put my face in it? It's fine. All right, here we go.
Here come that voice trying to turn me around. Here come the noise trying to break me down. But I got my roots deep in the sacred ground, and I choose love. 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 Here come that grief trying to shake my pride. Here come false beliefs trying to break my stride. But I own my truth and I release the lies, and I choose love. 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 I choose love.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I could have had that song go on a few more minutes, like something like 60. Thank you so much, Charlene, for the wonderful message today. Thank you for those amazing images and the news events that you shared with us. Wonderful, wonderful. So now is the time to bless the donations that are shared with CSL Leesburg. And we believe in the law of circulation, just like you heard in our opening video. So we are a tithing community. The donations that are shared with our center bless everyone, those who give and those who receive. So your donations help our center, our home organization, as well as organizations that support our vision of helping to create a world that works for everyone. All right, there's so many different ways that you can give, and odds are you found something on this screen that you use because that's what works for you. So join me by placing whatever you have. Maybe you have a donation in hand and you're going to send it off later, or maybe you just give regularly, but take that and just hold it over your heart and join me with the blessing of our gifts. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I'm a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. And now it's time for announcements. So, dream study. The next dream study will be on May 4th, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. So mark your calendars and join Charlene and her friends at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where they share their dreams. Charlene, when we do our pearls after service, I got one that I have to share with you. I can't wait till May 4th. But if you would like to join Charlene and her friends, please mark your calendars. Join them on May 4th. And that's all we have. So join me in our closing affirmation as we end this sacred time together. Once again, please put your hands over your heart. Unmute first if you can. You know I love to hear you. So here we go. Ready? I am love.
I am love.
Oh, you make me so happy when you do that. Now point at somebody who's near you, somebody who's in the room. It could be a furry friend. It could be a family member. I'm going to try to kind of point to Puma, who's hiding behind my computer. You also know that we're all connected. So you can just send this out to anyone who you think needs this message. Here we go. You ready? You
are loved.
Puma says thank you very much. And now put your hands up in the air and join me with what we call love sprinkles. Let's just send some love out there into the universe, into the cosmics. Like that Voyager 2, we're going to send out a message. Here we go. You ready? I am love, and it's all
love. We're all love.
I choose love, just like Leah sang. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us. If you can, please stay. We're going to do something that we call Pearls, where we hang out, we talk to each other, we share anything that we want to share regarding the message, the meditation, the music. We catch up with each other. If you can stay, please stay. We'd love to chat with you. And if you can't, please know that we send you off with our love and with our blessings. Have a marvelous day. Ooh.